Good people, we are back. Now, we have done an introduction to while loops, a while loop, and what exactly happens, how it goes through the loop, and how it goes until the stop happens. Now, so our next step will be to do at least 5 to 10 examples for us to get exactly what happens within a while loop. So in our previous example, in our first example, we did a while loop, right? We checks, this is a condition that checks whether the count that the variable we have is less than or equals to 5. It prints you what we have, then it adds, right? Now let's do our example 2. So I'll call this while to do py. Now I'm going to copy this so that sorry, these are the steps when doing a while loop. So what do we want to do? Now for this, I do want us to do a countdown, right? So we have a variable name x is equals to 3. Let's say we have a countdown of 3 seconds. We can call it seconds, right? So we go to say while, it's a while loop, right? So while x is greater or equals to 1, right? What should happen? You're going to print can I just print x, right? Or you can just add you can say x is right. Normally when we do this, we have to add a comma right here. Yeah, so that's what happened. Then now what's the action taken on x? Like, how does the countdown happen? So x is equals to x minus 1. Okay, I'll show you a short form of that, but let's say how it works first. So okay, when this will print when it's true. What happens when it's false? So we're just going to print now let's run this and then see what happens. So we say Python while, right? So it goes 3, then it checks, is it greater or equals to 1? Yes. It prints you what we have, the x we have. Initially it's 3, that's why we have starting at 3. So this 3 here is the first check. It checks, is it true? Yes. It prints this, which says x is 3 because x is 3 of first. Then it updates it, x equals to x minus 1. It becomes now 2. For the first loop it becomes 2, right? Then it goes back to checking, is it greater or equals to 1? Yes. It prints the 2. It does the subtraction again of minus 1, right? So it becomes 1. Checks again, is it greater or equals to 1? That's true. x1 is greater or equals to 1, so it's equals to 1. Print 1, and it checks now again. It now performs the action whereby it says x, which is 1 minus 1, becomes 0. So now it checks again, is 0 greater or equals to 1? The answer becomes false. That's when this stops, then it prints the loop is finished with 1. Now I was to show you a short form for this, whereby we put here a minus, right? Sorry, a minus, not here. X is equals to 1. Let's run this. This just executed the same way. Remember, in our initial accordingly. So we said x is equals to x plus 1. Okay, these are different examples. Is the same as, so we can say this is the same as, so we're not going to assign, but say is equals to x plus is equals to 1. This is true. In the same setting, okay, it's because I should have put in another line. We'll say x, let me put them in the same line. X is equals to x minus 1. That's what we had in our example, x minus 1, right? Is the same as, x minus 1. X minus 1 is the same as x minus equals to 1. These are the same. These are the same. So that's why I have removed what we had initially and use that in our code. So this is the same as x is equals to x minus 1. So this works. Had we said we want to add 0 in our countdown, so we'd put here 0, right? So then we'd say when we run this, it will add 0 because it will go through the loop as we said. So it will evaluate the condition, which is x is greater or equal to 0, right? If it is true, it executes this, right? So it executes this every time until the condition becomes false. That's when our last line is executed. I hope that's clear for our example 1. We're just doing a countdown. I hope that works well. I hope that's clear, and we can now move to example 3. So I'll say while 3. Remember, we're still doing the while loop, and still I'll take our conditional state. I'll take our steps so that we see how this happens in the example we're going to do. So advantage, say we I think we had covered this, whereby we were counting the number of negatives in a list, but I think we had used 4. So I want us to use while here, right? So let's use while to find the number of negatives in a list. Now, so we want to say, count negatives in a list. So basically we're going to have a list, yeah? So we're going to have a list about, let's put numbers. So the number is equals to, let's have a list. We're going to say 5, not 4, and negative 6, negative 9, 9. Okay, I'm just having random numbers, negative 1, another number, say 9, we say negative 12. This is our list, right? We just use a list of random numbers. So we're going to say, since counting in a list, we have index, right? We have indexing. So we have indexing. So we have index is equals to 0. Okay. Negative count. Like what's the number of negative counts we have, right? Is equals to our first count is negative at negative 0. The negative count is 0, right? Let's do a while loop, right? While index, right? We're using indexing, so that's index 0. So while index is less than the length of the numbers we have. Now in Python, to find the length of a list over this list, to find the length, like the number of, let's say we have 100 or we have numerals or we have, I don't know, x number. So to find the number, we're going to say length of numbers, right? Does that make sense? So we're saying while the index is less than the length of numbers, right? How does that make sense? In that we don't have numbers being 50 and we have indexes being 52. So while index is less than the length of numbers, now an if statement comes here. So if numbers, right, the number of variable, then we pass the index. Like, what's the index of this number? Index is less than 0. Remember, this is the condition we're checking, in that a number less than 0 is negative. How that makes sense? If a number is, if you know the number line, if you remember the number line, any number less than 0 becomes negative, and then we have positives being more than 0. So we're going to say negative count is equals to, we just did this. So instead of saying it's equals to negative count plus 1, we're going to say plus is equals to 1. Right? Does that make sense? Then we say index. For index, we keep adding the index because it's 0, 1, 2. Basically, indexing in a list starts from 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's how the indexing in our numbers works. So we keep adding 1, right? How does that make sense? Then we do a print of number of negative values. Basically, I can just print the number. So let's run this, then we see the result we have. So we're going to say Python while 3. Yeah. So our answer is 4. Let's go through how we get 4. Let's first count just manually 1, 2, 3, and this one. So I have explained how each of the variable names you have here, how it comes to play and how it works. For the indexing, we're starting with 0, then we keep adding 1. So this will be index 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it keeps checking against this indexing against the numbers. So we have said while index is less than the length of numbers, right? Yeah. Then we're now going to check. We're going to check for the condition. If the condition is true, we run until it becomes false. Then we print the results at the bottom. I hope that's clear. If in case anyone has a question, you can get to me, then you can leave a comment in the section, then we'll be able to handle that. Let's do our while for. Again, I'm going to copy this section because we'll just keep checking against it. Okay, you don't have to copy it in your program. I'm just copying it because it's so that we can check on the steps as we do the example. So remember, initially we have covered on the modular section in our examples. So I'm going to do a program to print each digit of a number, right? For example, I'm going to use modulars here. I can use here modulo or modular. Basically the percentage sign. Yeah. So basically, if the number is 5432, right? So I'm going to say the modulus of 10, right? So modulus of 10, it means it will remain first 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So basically I'm going to use a while loop. Let's say I'll want a user to enter a number. So I hope we remember how we used users to enter a number. The number I want a user to enter is an integer. So I'll ask the user for an integer, then ask the user to enter input an integer. Then I'll ask you to enter positive number. Yeah. This is a variable that stores what a user enters. So how will our while loop play a role here? So we go to say while number, right, is greater than 0. We just want to ensure that the number is greater than 0. What happens? This is the condition we're going to check. If this is true, you've entered 10. It's greater than 0. So now that's when the body plays. So we're going to print the number. I've said we're going to use modulo, so we'll say modulo that sign 10, right? So if the number is 10, right, 10 modulo 10 is 0. So basically the output should be 0. But what should happen after that? We're going to say number equals to number. Now we say the modulo 10 of a number is now becomes equals to this. Assign this variable, right? You run the first time. Now it will now assign the new value to it, right? So if we can do an example with 10, right? While for so let's say we said we're starting with 10. So basically it keeps why doesn't it stop? So this, even right now, this is running. So if I try to copy it, it is a while loop, so it's still running, right? So it keeps running. Now we have to for it to have an exit, we're going to say print. We want to print something, so we go to print and now we can start and then use 10. So is it 10? Okay. I should have there's one thing I haven't entered right here. So what happens is, for the new number, we want the number to be you divide it by 10 exactly, right? For you to get a number out. So I was wondering why it was running. So now this becomes easy. Now this becomes this has an end, right? So if we enter a positive number, then the number is 10. First condition we check is if the number is greater than 0, right? So we're going to print number modulo 10 here is 0, right? The next thing we're going to say number divided by the number you have, right, divided by 10. So 10 divided by 10 is 1, right? That's why it checks it's greater than 0, right? So 1 is greater than 0, that's true. That's why it runs a modulo 10 of 1 and we get the answer as 1. So now that's clear, and I hope we've seen. Let's do with a different number, different bigger number. As I did give an example of 5432. Let's say 5432, right? So basically it's going to print numbers in reverse, right? I should have said in reverse. So first thing, let's do an example of how this comes about. First, it will check if the number 54, so we've entered the number 5432, right? So first check is the number greater than 0, the answer is true. The other is true, so it executes, if true, it executes the body. So the number here, while the number is true, is greater than 0, it is going to do a number modulo 10, right? Our number 5432 modulo 10 is basically modulo 10 of this is 2, right? Then you say the number we had, you divide it by 10. So here the answer here is 2 in our first run, right? In our first run, number is 2. Remember we still have the number 5432. So in the next stage, we divide 5432 divided by 10, which makes the number 543 remains, because we divide the number, we divided it by 10, exactly by 10, means 543. That's the first run, right? So in the second run, it will check is 543. Now 543 becomes the number. It will check if it's greater than 0, it's yes. So it will do the modulo 10 of 543. That's why in the next run we're going to have 3 here. 3 we have. So it does the number we have. We divide exactly by 10, remains in our next run, so it will remain 54. It will come back and check again. Is it greater than 0? Yes. It prints the number modulo of 10, which is 4. From 54, it becomes 4. Right? So that's our third run. Then it will do 54. You divide by 54 divided by 10. It remains 5. Right? Is 5 greater than 0? Yes. Then it will do the modulo of 10 or 5. Right? So that's where the 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5 comes. Okay, how do we get 5 divided by 10? Right? It's 2. Okay, it should be. Where can we get? That's how we get. That's how we get 5, 4, 3. So here, remember we've got to 54. 54 0 than 0. Modulo 10 of 54 is 50. Remainder 4. That's how we get 4. Then we say numbers equals the number divided by 10 exactly. It becomes 54 divided by 10, right? It becomes 5.4, right? So exactly 5.4 by 10 is let me see, 54 divided by 10 is 5.4. So here we have 5.4, which makes it 5, right? We check it's greater than 10. That's how we get to print 5. 5, 4, 3, 2 becomes our answer. I hope that's clear of 5, 4, of how the modulus is being used in our scenario. So in our next example, I'd want in our next example, I'd want us do another example. Let's say wildfire. Okay, in our fifth example, we can print a square. Let me do a square here. So let's do something light. So we're going to say, print square of numbers from 1 to 5. Basically, we're going to have a condition whereby it checks if numbers are less than 5, right? So we're going to say n. We are going to have a variable n is equals to right? So let's say while n is less than or equals to 5, so we're going to check against being less than or equals to 5, right? So this is our while loop. What do we want to do? We want to print the square. So how do we calculate square? Square is n star n star n n star n. After that we say n, where the same thing we did initially, plus is equals to 1. This is an increment. It keeps incrementing, plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 until this becomes false, right? Then you can say basically just when not false, it's so we can run this and say Python while 5. So what's so let's see, let's go through this, how it happens. N is less than or equals to 5. Is it true? Yes. 1 squared is 1. It comes to the next line, n plus 1. 1 plus 1 becomes 2. Is 2 less than or equals to 5? Yes. We're going to print this. 2 squared is 4. It goes to the next line, it adds 1, it becomes 3. 3 is less than or equals to 5? Yes. 3 squared becomes 9. It comes the next line, 3 plus 1, 4. Is 3 less than or equals to 5? Yes. 3 squared, 4 squared, sorry, 4, 16. It comes to the next line, 4 plus 1, 5. Is 5 less than or equals to 5? Yes. 5 is equals to 5. So we say 5 squared is 25. Then it adds 6. Is 6 less than or equals to 5? No. That's why we print done next. So we go to 25, then we print done. Now that's clear. It's straightforward of doing the multiplication and additions. I hope that's clear, and we've understood how our while loop works. So now I'm going to, let's do while 6 while 6.py. So fine. I hope we now know the steps of doing a while loop. So basically here what you want to do is you want to guess a secret number. So we're going to use most of the things we've covered in our initial recordings. Yeah. Now let's get started. So we're going to have a secret number. We're going to store it being 7. So our secret number is 7. A variable called secret, it stores number 7. Right? These assignments, double equals this comparison. Obviously. So we want to ask the user to guess an input. Right? So we're going to say we want to guess to enter an integer, which is an input, right? Then we have let's say guess a secret number. We want them to guess a secret number, right? Yeah. So you guess a secret number. So how does while loop comes in here? So we want to say while the guess is not equal to secret, you print wrong guess. Fine. Here we're going to use not equals to. So while the guess, what the user has just entered, is not equals to the secret, we want it to be equal to secret, right? So we did say when you put an exclamation mark and secret and equals to, it negates, right? So I'll guess we're going to tell the user we're going to tell the user. So while that is true, we're going to say the user wrong guess. Yeah, it normally happens when you. So what happens? So basically, when we now want the guess to have the new, basically to have basically we're going to have to redo this basically we're going to ask them again to guess the number, right? So they'll keep guessing the number for as long as until they find the correct answer. So how do we get to execute our last time? So while this is true, which means while the guess is not equal to secret. Once the guess is equals to secret, now that's when this is printed. Let's do it. Let's run this and see what we get. So it's Python 6. Right? Let's start with it being correct. You guess it right. Now let's get wrong. You see, each time the user enters a wrong number. This, for the first run, this is true. It is not equals to 7. You're being told wrong guess. This one, and you're being told now guess the number again. Now the new guess will contain the new word, which now once the while loop is started, it will just keep running this 3. It will keep guessing. It will check. It will have the new word with the new number the user did place there. Then it checks against this, the secret. Checks against it. Is it true? It's true because it's not equals. It keeps running. It keeps iterating, as we say. So it keeps iterating until when guess is equals to secret. Now this becomes false. That's when we guessed it right, as we saw in our first try. So like now I can enter 7 to end now our loop stops. Now we can now restart it again. So this can be used when you're guessing. Let's say you have 3 trials, you have 5 trials, so we can limit the number of the guess you have, right? But for now we're just interested with the while loop. We'll get to do that as we go along. I hope that's clear. We have done about 6 examples of while. We've done 7 examples of while loop. I hope we have understood what while loop and have done. Basically, to get to understand this, you'd have to do a lot more examples. While 7. So basically we can ask user to enter a valid number, right? Okay. Let's use a while loop. Use a while loop. Ask user to enter a positive number. But let's do this. So first, we from what we see in our question is we want the user to so let's have a number. A number being have to get the input from a user, right? Input So you're asking user, enter positive number. Yeah, this is what they do. That's what it was. So while from our question or from our point of view, we want to check if the number is greater than 0, because a positive number is greater than 0. So our condition will be the number is greater than 0. Basically, 0 as well is positive. So let's add it by using the equals to sign, right? So while we haven't entered our, so while number is greater or equals to 0, we want to print sorry, okay, let me repeat the condition. A number is positive if it is greater than 0. This is less than 0. So if your number is less than or equals to 0, we're going to say that's not positive. Try again. Okay, I was wrong with the using I had used this as less than, but it is okay. It's greater than, but it's less than. So if while the number is greater than, the number is less than 0, is less than or equals to 0, we're going to ask the user to. We're going to tell you that's wrong, and then we ask the user to enter. Right? So we are going to assign it to it. Now, if they enter a positive number, we're going to print let's show them what they have entered. You have entered enter, then we pass comma, and the variable. What happens here? Let's explain this using how the while loop works here. So first, a user enters a number here. But we've asked the user to enter a positive number. So let's say they enter 5, right? So the user has entered 5. Let's go through it, then we'll see if we have it. So the user enters 5, right? Now let's go through the while loop. So the while loop comes and check, is it less than or equals to 0? No. So this becomes false. This executes. If the user enters -1, it will come and check here. Is it less than or equals to 0? Yes. In the number line, -1 is less than 1. Less than 0. Sorry. And then in the number line, it's less than 1. So it will print this to the user and then tell the user now enter another number. So this loop will now it will keep iterating from this one. It will keep iterating here until the user enters a positive number. Let's run this using 5, then we see if we got it. So we won't say Python 7. No, Python 7. So we need to start with 5. We have that 5. So our while loop has stopped because the user entered 5. Let's say they enter -1 as we showed. It will say you've not entered positive. Basically, so let's redo it. So you've entered -1, -6, -5, -10. So until you enter 90, it will now show you I've entered 9. here from this point we can have the limitation whereby you limit user to enter a number within a certain bracket. Let's say you want to enter between 5 and 10. You want to give them 5 tries. Such kind of limitations we'll do them as we go along, but for now let's just handle the while loop. I hope we are clear. So there's something there's something when you are doing maybe in your normal, when you're entering you're accepting inputs in your phone, you have to enter Y to stop and N to continue. Let's do that for our last example. We'll go to Y8.py. Actually there are a lot of examples you can do here. It's normally what I just explained is called Sentinel. Yeah. So basically we want to enter a character until the user enters letter N. That's when you stop. So you want to say user character. So you want user to input a string. Remember, when you want a user to enter a string, we won't ask them. We won't use an integer or a string. It's by default input like this takes a string. So we will tell it to enter character. Right. So we take in the character of our user. Right. So here's where the while loop comes in. I hope it's a bit clear. So while we have taken in the user character, right? We have stored it. So let's say while user character is not equals to, remember we negate using the exclamation mark, is not equals to. And we don't want, as long as you haven't entered the letter N, right? Very small. As long as you haven't entered the letter N, you're going to say print. Then we tell you what you just entered. So we tell you entered let me show you. Sorry. Comma. Then we pass the what you entered. Then we now want to use it to enter another character. Basically we just pass we pass this so as to get the new, because our loop keeps running, it does not stop. Once it starts, it does not stop, so it won't go back here again. No, our loop will just be here. It will just iterate around here, around here, around here. So while that is true, that will run as long as it's true, but unless, so until you enter the letter N, then you will be told loop has stopped. Because you entered the letter. Sorry. Let's do an example. If you enter, let me explain what happens here. So while the user character is not equals to N, right? Is not equals to N, it will still take in the input, whichever input you have, until you enter N. So this will become true. It's not N, so this is true. That's why this will run. It will run. It's not true. It's true until you enter the letter N, making this false. Well, you enter the letter N. It's true. You entered the letter N, but it will be false in our condition. That's why it will output. Now let's do for 8. Let's start again. Stop, right? Because our statement now becomes false, right? Let's start with Y and T, Y, S, K, L, J, and stops, kills the iteration or stops the iteration. Oh, that's clear so far. We have covered in our examples on the while loop. In case you have questions, let me know. We can you can do a million examples of while loop until you understand how while loop works. What over how we do an import, another one which maybe we would have done is downtime. Yeah, downtime. Basically, so we've come to our end of our example using the while loop. Guess we've covered enough of that. So what we can use while loop for is okay, let me just go back to, so basically to finish up our notes on while loop, what we can use uses of while loop. Yeah, so as we've seen, we have controlled the user input, so you can use for user control. Repetition. Yeah. We have what's down. I will never have counter, right? Until a condition is met. And validate an input, as we've just been doing, like until and unless the user input the letter N, we can't stop our iteration, right? You can process items till continuous limit. Hope that's clear. We have been able to see all this in our examples. If there's need, I can do other recordings going through this or doing example of all this. But up to here, we have come through, or we have covered enough examples of while loop. I'd advise you to go through each of the examples and then try to do them yourself. Do more examples. On the readme section, I'll add questions so that you can be able to tackle them from your hand. Thank you for your time. We have covered enough of while loop. In our next class, we'll do. Okay, we can do. I don't think we're able to do more while loop examples. We've covered enough of that. But if there's need be, let me know, and then I can be able to do that. There are sections you might not have covered. Yeah, so I'll see if I can do another recording of while loop. But if not, we can do the for loops, right? So I might do another recording, but maybe we will be headed for the for loop. Thank you for your time, guys. See you in the next one. Bye bye.